Peace, wholeness, and divine blessings. I'm Moon Goddess Ambrosia, the Fifth Force Oracle, here to share the cosmic oracle reading of evolution for this plasma as we are closing out this beautiful moon that we've been in of really looking at if we're holding the integrity or modeling the integrity of what we believe, or I like to say what we know or what we think we believe or know, right? So I am definitely looking forward to getting into the reading for this plasma. And as always, I must just give my gratitude and reverence for all of M.I.M.E.C, Synchronistic Hueman, as well as Moon Goddess and the Healing Arts, and all of us that are here dedicated to the mission of us evolving and creating a new experience for us, living in divine alignment with the cosmos, with all that is, with nature and each other, and of course ourselves. And so I am going to jump right on into the reading. I do want to say that I will have this posted on YouTube at 10:10 a.m. So be sure to check it out if you all, so that you all can check out and listen to the full reading. And so I also would love to see some of your comments in the chat, some feedback on some of the insight that you received during this reading, because I'm always curious as to, how this information helps to bring forth different insights for all of us. And so I would definitely love and appreciate to hear some of your feedback. And so with that, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. So as I've mentioned, we are closing out the galactic moon of us holding the integrity. And being that this is the last plasma of this moon, this is a beautiful segue into the solar jaguar moon of intention. And so by us attuning ourselves to the mindset of a synchronaut, recognizing and remembering, like really getting into the intentional aspect of knowing that we are living expressions of divinity or the divine. And of this divine synergy within us, because we are multidimensional beings. And so for us to lock in on this and also do this as a collective in unity, I invite all of you to speak out loud your personal galactic signature, kin number, name, and affirmation. Take your time with it. If I finish saying mine before you do, I still want to encourage you to feel into your affirmation, allow the truth of it to resonate with all aspects of who you are, or as much of you as possible. And so we're going to begin by saying, as a living expression of, and then so forth with your kin number, name, and affirmation. All right, so I am going to begin stating mine, so join me. As a living expression of Kin 181, the red crystal dragon, I dedicate in order to nurture, universalizing being. I seal the input of birth with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am guided by the power of space. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo. And so just as a reminder, or for anyone that is new to hearing the oracle readings, this is based off of the Destiny Kin Oracle board that you see here on the right, which has a fifth dimensional template for all of the 20 archetypes in the Tzolk'in cosmology. And when we look at the template, the reason why it's fifth dimensional is because it includes the 5 aspects of what makes us multidimensional when it comes to the fact that we have a soul, we're being guided by spirit, we have a physical body, we have an emotional body as well as a mental body. So those 5 aspects, be operating in alignment, like cooperating with one another, that helps us to sustain our whole state of being. And when we do that, we can really make some significant shifts in the way that we show up, as well as how we interact and what we create in our experience. And, it really radiates throughout the entire universe. And so that's the beautiful part that I love about doing these oracle readings. It just helps us to really operate in the whole state of our being. This oracle reading also serves as a meditative tool and a cosmic compass. So with that, it helps us to align with the natural cycles of the kinergy that we're flowing through each plasma of every moon. And so, particularly on this plasma, we are on Kin 87, which is the blue solar hand, which is also why it's beautiful that we're on this plasma, which is a solar tone moving into a solar moon. And so, right now, what we're looking at is pointing out where the blue hand is on the oracle board. And so, just a quick breakdown of each aspect. In the center, that represents the soul body or the focus. That's where a lot of the, like, whether the, well, basically where what you're focused on, or what we're um, able to use as a tool to focus on this plasma. Down at the bottom represents the emotional body, where we have the white wizard. On the left, that represents the mental body, which is where we see the red earth archetype. On the right, this is the physical kin body, where we have the yellow human. And so those 4 archetypes are the basic aspects of the blue hand. Now, when we include the galactic tone, which I explain it as the energetic vibration of the kin in the center, or I'll say not even just the center, but for that, I'll say for Kin 87 today, we can identify what the archetype will be that will sit in the spirit guide position, that sits in that blank box if you're looking on the left. And so, since we're on the solar tone, we have the blue knight that sits in the spirit guide position. And so we'll talk more about that in detail when we get into the oracle reading in itself. And so, just as a reminder, we are in the Blue Storm Wave spell, where we're tapping into the power of catalyzing our own energy. That means your energetic signature, or each of our energetic signatures, so that we can show up in the illusionary aspect of this physical part, because the true essence of who we are is the energy that we embody. I call the physical way that we show up an illusion, or the physical things that we see as an illusion, because a lot of those things can change. And so this is where we get to play with our magic at. And so the blue solar hand is a part of this wave spell mission, which is helping us to, go through this process. And so when we look at the significance of the different aspects of its name, the blue is talking about us having that patience to transform the way that we conduct ourselves. And when we look at the hand, which is also known as the avatar, this is the power of accomplishments that knows healing. And, you know, when it comes to accomplishing our goals, we go through that process of remembering the different aspects, or going through the process of knowing the different aspects that it takes, that helps us to accomplish our goals. the healing also corresponds to being in a whole state of being. So it's like bringing all of that knowledge into one form so that we can accomplish our goals. And so that's the creative essence that we're tapping into on this plasma. And the vibration of that energy comes from the solar tone, which is pulsing the intention. So that's like, just how you can feel the pulse, in your wrist, or you can feel your heart pulsating. It's the same thing when we're harnessing this energy intentionally. That's how we can make things real, in our actual experience, and also in the way that we show up. And so when we put this all together, into my remix version of the affirmation, it states, well, I'm going to read it saying, uh, we, no, wait, am I saying, I'm going to read it saying you. Okay, so you pulse your self generation, your power of self generation, in order to know your magic. By realizing your healing, realizing that you are whole, and you do this by sealing your memory storage of accomplishment, or storing in your memory of what you have accomplished, what you know you can accomplish, and also what you intend to accomplish with this solar tone of intention. You are guided by the power of divine abundance. And so the divine abundance is where we want to take this focus towards. The spirit guide is where we receive or see where this last line comes from. And so with that, just some insight about the affirmation, uh, that the first two lines where it's talking about pulsing, the power of self generation in order to know your magic. This is talking about, basically, in order to know your magic, we have to sit in the energy that we naturally possess. As we cultivate that energy within us, we can begin to recognize and realize the creative power that's already inside of us. And so, as that inner knowing grows, it strengthens our ability to bring that unseen aspect of us, or that unseen divine aspect of us, or the intangible parts or ideas and dreams that we have, into the scene, or as our lived reality, what our real lived experiences are. And that is what magic is taking something unseen and intangible and making it seen and tangible. And so as we restore our divine essence on this plasma, it helps us to sustain being in our whole state of being, you know, remembering that we are multidimensional beings. And that is the foundation of us, knowing what our magic is and showing up in our magic as a physical living being. And so when we do this with the solar tone of intention, this is us intentionally operating in that whole state of being, being one within ourselves, that's helping us to lock into the integrity of how we utilize our magic. And so when we carry this intention into the divine blessings that we dream of, experiencing or accomplishing, or that we intuit for ourselves, that's what's going to help us to make it real. So by us being intentional within, that energy pulsates externally as well, and it helps us to stay in that divine alignment, to produce the synchronicities, to recognize what they are as well. And so those synchronicities show up to show us what we're creating, um, within or as our experience. And so essentially, two questions that had came to mind from this was, do we know the magical essence that we embody? Like, do we really know that? And if, there's some uncertainty, this is a beautiful plasma to sit in that. Another thing is, how can we intentionally align our magical essence with us accomplishing our goals? Okay, so, these are some questions or things to help start igniting our thoughts as we move into the oracle reading. And so, to help us hold this focus, I have our one line statement, which states, I am realizing my wholeness to accomplish self-generating the energy of my divine magic. So you are realizing your wholeness to accomplish self-generating the energy of your divine magic. And as a collective, we are realizing our wholeness to accomplish, to accomplish self-generating the energy of our divine magic. Ashe, ashe, and ashe yo. All right, so let's jump right on into it. The main frequency that we're tapping into is this solar tone, pulsing the intention to realize it, to make it real. And so just thinking about how do we attain our purpose, that purpose is really important. Knowing what your purpose is and knowing what you intend to do, like, what's the purpose of what you seek to accomplish? Like, what purpose is that even, like, what is that going to serve? And so, by exploring what the purpose is, now it moves us into how do we attain it. And that's the beautiful part that this oracle reading today is going to help us to gain the clarity of. Okay, so with that, we are focusing on realizing our wholeness, realizing what that is. And so we're being guided by the blue solar night, which is sitting in that above position, where we're the excuse me, the spirit guide is like the compass. So the soul focus is like us sitting in the driver's seat of the car, right? So when we turn our GPS on, when we know which direction we want to go in, that is similar to what the spirit guide does. So when we focus on attaining what we want to accomplish or what we seek to accomplish, this is geared towards the dreams that we have, the divine abundance, or I like to say the divine blessings that we are intuiting. If we could dream it, we could create it. That's one thing that I always think about when it comes to the blue night. So when we realize it, first recognizing it and then bringing it outside of us, that is what makes it real in our experience. And so I'm actually going to jump over to the left, which is where we have the mental body. The mental body is where we look at the different challenges that we may be experiencing. And instead of us just seeing it as a challenge and like, oh my gosh, it's a challenge, right? The goal is to strengthen our mind to recognize the gift that is within the challenge. And so by us having the red solar earth here in this position, it's it's encouraging us to look at how we see ourselves evolving, how we see ourselves navigating through our experiences, and, whatever challenges may be when it comes to those things, recognize what the gift is. The gift is what you aim to accomplish from it. So, like, say, for example, you have a challenge let's see, say you're having a challenge with your family members. You can recognize like the different aspects that you seek to evolve, like not so much about changing the other people, but more so recognizing how you can evolve and how you're navigating when you interact with them. And this could be in this could apply to any type of challenge that you any type of experience that you may have some challenges navigating through. So definitely take a moment to think about that. And as you do that, recognize what the gifts are, in which you are seeking to accomplish. And so when you do that, you start to realize the synchronicities, because synchronicities generate by us, you know, um, recognizing what energies we're feeling, what those feelings actually mean, what it's revealing to us. It also shows us what we're perceiving or creating because of how we think. And so, when we start taking that initiative to shift the way we perceive what we're feeling or perceive what we're experiencing, that's when we can recognize the gift within those challenges. And I'm going to jump down to the emotional body. The emotional body is the gas in our car that's fueling us to sustain or keep the focus that we have of accomplishing our goals. So we have the white overtone wizard that's sitting here, which is encouraging us to enchant sitting in timelessness. And that timelessness means like operating outside of time. We may still need to be mindful of time. However, when we just take a moment to not think about how much time it's going to take for something to be accomplished, or not to feel pressured by time, that helps us to command ourselves to be receptive to the insights, to get uh, to know how we can attain our purpose or our intentions, or carry out our intentions. That's what I want to say. And so when we allow ourselves to really sit there and ground, like, yeah, literally sit there and look and, and embody the image of this solar seal, like the picture of the white wizard here, to sit there in that meditation, sit there in that timelessness, and allow the insights to come in for you to to motivate you. Okay. And so last but not least, when we look at one more thing about the white overtone wizard. Um, as we're being receptive, allow your heart space to show you. Do not get so caught up in, what's that word? Over into intellect. What's the word I'm trying to say? Basically, like when we're trying to think about things too logically. You know what I'm saying? Like, allow our hearts to really show us. It may not fully make sense in the moment, or if we're really trying to force it, sometimes that could cause some stress on us. But when we really just sit there and just be true and listen to our hearts, that's where we get to tap into the spirit of us, the divine essence. We don't allow the ego to move us in some other type of way. We want to listen to our hearts. And so, last but not least, on the right side, this is where the physical body sits, and this supports the focus. So whatever is going on inside of us, it also gets mirrored or reflected in our external experience. So with us having the yellow solar human here, it is this is the energy that's encouraging us to influence our free will, or to um, allow ourselves to operate in free will, so we can realize the wisdom that we have gained from those challenges that we've been, you know, seeking to navigate through. That is also how we can recognize what the gifts are. The gift is the wisdom of it. So when we take that wisdom to influence our free will, to influence our willpower to accomplish our goals, that is what's going to help also support us in everything else, all the internal aspects that we have going on, as well as what's going on the external realm. And so, a good way to assess how strong you're allowing these aspects to cooperate with one another is how stabilized you are in being present, being fully aware of the energy that you embody and how you can use your creative essence to accomplish your goals. And so when we stabilize that wakefulness and being in that presence, that also enables us to explore different spaces. Our body is a space, our living environment is a space, all the different spaces, we get to explore them. And as we explore them, we also can see what challenges we may have experienced when it comes to even, just operating in the free will of our divine essence. And so as we continue to do that, we are allowing ourselves to endure the process of us blooming and growing into the next stages of us accomplishing our goals. And so with that, that's basically the the oracle reading for us on this plasma. Um, May that you've received some insights that has helped you to see some different ways to navigate through different challenges so that you could accomplish your goals. And so, with that, as always, it is my joy to share these oracle readings, and I leave it with you all that may that you enjoy your creation in every single moment of now. Every moment we are creating. Okay, so being in that joyful state of what we've been creating also helps us to stay in the right mindset to create different experiences that helps to improve our lives, to flow better through the way that we're navigating in our lives. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead because I could keep going on and on about this oracle reading. So with that, in la cash, I can. I love y'all. Stay peace. I shall talk to y'all later.